Factually inaccurate.
Morally correct. This is Babylon Bee Radio. Our top story. Country star Jason Aldean released a controversial single called Try That in a Small Town, in which he laid out his belief that crime is bad. He has since been forcefully condemned by the music industry since being against crime is now considered to be a racist dog whistle.
We are shocked and saddened by the blatant racism in Aldean's song that condemned violent crime,
said a CMT spokesperson.
Crime is a beloved and noble tradition of BIPOC communities, and to condemn it is to condemn our own black brothers and sisters. We are sorry we ever allowed it to be aired.
Aldean defended himself on his Instagram page, pointing out that he never mentioned race. The critics are the ones who did. Unfortunately, no one read his statement as Instagram immediately removed the post. Industry experts joined in denouncing Aldean.
Most of us secretly agree with him, but it's not cool to say that,
said Universal Music Group CEO Cindy Mabe.
So please don't tell anyone I said that. Hey, stop recording me!
Most recently, a group of heavily armed Antifa troops was seen outside Aldean's home to teach him a valuable lesson about being against crime. Local man Heath Bentley declared to his friend Gil today that no person needs an AR-15, displaying his obvious ignorance of Texas cockroaches.
5 minutes down there, that boy would be begging for a bazooka,
said Corpus Christi native Gil Merrick.
An AR-15 is the smallest weapon anyone would dare to take those suckers on with.
Bentley betrayed his utter lack of knowledge about the behemoths.
I just can't comprehend why any civilian would need an AR-15.
You know the saying that everything's bigger in Texas?
Yeah?
The cockroaches are no exception, buddy. I once turned on the light and found a cockroach sitting in the lazy boy, smoking his cigar he'd stolen out of my humidor. He'd torn the front door right off the hinges and made himself at home. There wouldn't be any civilians left in Texas if it weren't for AR-15s.
After researching Texas-sized cockroaches, Mr. Bentley reportedly had an immediate change of heart about AR-15 ownership.
Their exoskeleton is so thick, it's impervious to shotgun blasts. I had no idea about the history of the AR-15, that it was only invented to battle the cockroaches. Apparently the AR stands for anti-roach. Who knew?
Mr. Bentley also became a firm believer in civilians owning anti-aircraft guns after seeing pictures of a Texas housefly. The nations of the earth have descended into a mass panic after Mad Money host Jim Cramer announced that giant mutant bugs will definitely not attack the earth next Tuesday at 2:17 p.m.
I'm absolutely 100% sure about this,
proclaimed Cramer confidently as his TV crew fled the studio in terror.
There is absolutely no chance a race of man-eating mutant insects controlled by a hive mind from the planet Arachnoid 6 will enter Earth's atmosphere at noon next Tuesday and begin destroying all major cities at 2:17 p.m. I know what I'm talking about, folks. Also, hold on to your General Motors stock because it's going up, up, up. If you don't own General Motors, buy now. Woo!
Federal authorities are telling citizens to remain in their homes and maybe dig fallout shelters real quick under their basements.
Based on our intelligence, which has monitored Cramer's show for years, we can reasonably assume that the exact opposite of what he just predicted will happen next week,
said Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin.
This is the end. God help us all.
At airtime, General Motors stock had crashed. Black box recordings have confirmed that as United Flight 452 hurtled towards the earth in a giant fireball, flight attendant Alice Turner smugly derided the passengers who had failed to listen to her pre-flight safety presentation. Though parts of the recordings were inaudible due to screaming, authorities have released portions of the plane's final moments in the air.
Well, looks like some folks in the cabin are no longer too distracted playing Roblox to listen to me. Bet you all wish you knew what safety features we have on this Boeing 737 now, don't you?
Folks, this is your captain speaking. Just giving you an update that both engines have indeed fallen off and we have reached maximum velocity heading towards the Earth. Thank you very much for flying with us today.
By the by, are you cowards in the exit row still willing to assist other passengers in case of emergency? Maybe you should have thought of that an hour ago when you all nodded at me with blank stares.
The 737 then crashed into a Kansas cornfield, exploding into millions of pieces and making a crater 200 yards wide. Though saddened by the tragedy, flight attendants across the country hailed Ms. Turner's final address to the cabin.
Yeah, we can see everyone rolling their eyes or laughing every time we stand in the aisle and pretend to buckle a seatbelt,
said attendant Chris Cage, a 10-year veteran.
That's really hurtful. I'm really glad someone finally showed those jerks just before everyone died. Oh, wait, that sounds kind of bad. No comment.
Against all odds, a survivor of the accident was located miles from the crash site. The man credited his survival to the strict attention he paid to the pre-flight safety presentation, as well as keeping his tray table up with his seat back in the full upright position. After developing a crick in your neck from a bad night's sleep, your new chiropractor has encouraging news. You'll be back to 100% in no time.
For a small copay of $50 per visit and a commitment to receiving regular chiropractic care forever and ever, I can guarantee relief. Just 328 more visits,
said Dr. Logan Harthson, who prescribed a total of $16,400 in treatment costs for a sore neck with a payment plan available.
Your sore neck will feel better in no time. Just 2.1 years of visits 3 times per week.
Sources indicate that tight neck muscles and wear and tear on spinal joints can be alleviated by decisive, gentle application of pressure 156 times per year for just over 2 years.
If you're serious about being cured, you need to be serious about getting regular adjustments at my practice, plus totally changing your diet and exercise routine while getting plenty of sunlight and fresh air, and taking ice baths and applying plenty of essential oils that my wife conveniently sells. If you do all those things without fail for the rest of your life, chances are you won't have a sore neck anymore at some point.
At Airtime, your chiropractor confirmed that you will need an additional plan of care for daily visits after uncovering some new rotational mobilization issues he caused after accidentally cracking your neck too hard. A local man was rushed to the hospital this morning with life-threatening injuries, sustained from sleeping in a slightly different position than he normally does.
Normally, I sleep on my side with my right arm positioned under my pillow and my left arm over my head in a very specific way. I should have never deviated from that. Please, tell my family I love them. Goodbye, cruel world.
Sources say the 38-year-old is being treated for severe injuries to his back, neck, shoulder, knees, jaw, and wrists due to the devastating effects of changing up his sleeping position ever so slightly.
I tried to warn my husband about sleeping that way. Why didn't he listen?
Experts say similar hospitalizations are increasing all around the country. They recommend avoiding a similar fate by not eating any food manufactured in the United States and maybe exercising once in a while. At Airtime, the man was readmitted to the hospital after sneezing too hard. In an attempt to avoid further injury and traumatic incidents involving Caucasians eating food that's far too spicy for them, the scientists behind the Scoville Scale have announced they're releasing a separate spiciness scale for white people.
We had to do something to save all those white folks. We've been inundated with reports of white people suffering severe injuries while attempting to impress other people by ingesting foods that rank near the top of the scale. This new scale will likely save countless lives.
The Scoville Scale, originally developed in 1912 by a pharmacist searching for a heat-producing ointment, measures the intensity of heat in different foods, such as peppers and hot sauces. The scale has gone through numerous updates over the years as new breeds of peppers and spicier foods have been created.
It became clear that a new white-specific scale was necessary. While a very minute percentage of Caucasians can tolerate truly spicy food, we found a startling number of white people who think Heinz ketchup was too spicy. Something needed to be done.
The new Scoville Scale for White Folks, which is its official title, features a heat scale that begins with mayonnaise and works its way up to the, according to many whites, blistering heat of Taco Bell's mild sauce. At Airtime, obstacles in the rollout of the new scale were already arising as several Caucasian test subjects were left red-faced and sweating after eating a single Cool Ranch Dorito. Former President Donald Trump has announced that he will make Vivek Ramaswamy head of tech support in his next administration.
Head of tech support for your favorite president. That's big league. Vivek will be a perfect fit for the job. I just know it.
Trump has reportedly been impressed with Ramaswamy, finding him likable and intelligent on camera.
Look, I know talent when I see it. It's one of my greatest talents. Vivek, he's very smart, so easy to understand. He has a great smile, doesn't he? That's the kind of smile I want to see when my keys are all sticky with Diet Coke.
According to sources close to the former president, Trump has graciously tried to think of roles in his administration for each of his rivals in the Republican primary.
I don't hold grudges. Grudges are for losers. So that Chris Christie guy, I'll put him in charge of planning menus for state dinners. The guy really knows his way around a menu, believe me. That Haley lady, she'll be ambassador to India, obviously. Oh, and Mike will station him in Ukraine full time. I hear he loves the place.
Trump also announced that he would ask Ron DeSantis to be head of planning trips to Disney World for visiting dignitaries. College students will have an exciting opportunity this fall as several educational institutions have announced they will offer credit in gender studies courses to any students who are able to sit through the entirety of the new Barbie movie.
We decided sitting through the movie should earn them something,
said University of California Chancellor Carol Christ.
Obtaining college credit should not come without a cost, and there's no greater cost in our estimation than watching the entire Barbie film.
Experts say Barbie has managed an impressive feat by distilling an entire year of gender studies stories into one 2-hour movie by beating you mercilessly over the head with anti-patriarchy messaging for the entirety of its runtime.
Anyone who manages to sit through this thing has received the ultimate crash course in insufferable feminist scholarship.
Said Dr. Cindy Zantham, she/her, professor of insufferability at UC Berkeley.
The film is an absolute masterpiece.
The release of the Barbie movie comes at a welcome time for incoming students,
I'll do my best to sit through it.
said freshman Greg Tudor.
I'll take whatever credits I can get, even if it means watching this dumpster fire. I mean, it's got Margot Robbie in it, but I heard she's just mid now, so I don't know.
The first batch of students testing out the college's credit offer for watching the movie failed to complete the task, with all of them sprinting out of the theater screaming before the movie was over. Scholars at Dallas Theological Seminary say they now believe that Jacob's first assessment of Leah was to describe her as mid.
That one word pretty well summed it up,
said Old Testament professor Dr. Stanley Rudder.
Leah is no Margot Robbie, to say the least.
While heated arguments have erupted over whether certain women are, quote, mid, theologians say Leah's poor looks are not up for debate.
It's a biblical truth. We believe the Bible to be the inerrant word of God, and sadly for Leah, her unattractive features are literally enshrined in Scripture. Leah being mid was not simply Jacob's opinion, it is a stone-cold fact, directly backed by the word of Almighty God.
Jacob apparently first noticed Leah's eyes, which the Bible describes as soft.
To be honest, the Bible translators apparently felt bad for Leah. The original Hebrew basically says her eyes were crossed,
said Hebrew scholar Elias Peretz.
I mean, not like a little crossed. She was always keeping an eye on her nose. Plus, her name in Hebrew literally means fatigued. How ugly does a baby have to be for you to name her tired? Oy vey!
The scholars say they also believe Jacob described Leah's sister Rachel as straight bussin'. B Radio features officially curated content from the Babylon Bee. Scripted, voiced, and produced by Austin Robertson. Additional voices in this episode from Brandon, Dan, Jared, Kristen, Robin, and Sam. Like what you hear? Leave us a review on Apple, Spotify, iHeart, or wherever you get your podcasts.